Why is everyone losing their mind over the crafting change? So all crafted modifiers are now guaranteed. So crafted modifiers currently are things like essences, probably alloys, and then desecrated modifiers. But desecrated modifiers no longer count as crafted modifiers, but items are limited to one desecrated modifier. So the thing with this is, like a common craft that martial builds would be doing would be, let's say there's an onslaught essence. So you could get an onslaught suffix, chance to gain onslaught on kill. And then also there is a plus level of melee or range skills essence. And a lot of people would use both those, but now you can only use one. The other question is, if you were to use an essence of abrasion, like a greater essence of abrasion, that gives you tier 3 flat physical damage. Does that now count as a crafted mod? So if you get tier 3 essence of abrasion flat fizz on a weapon, you can't then force plus levels of skills with essence of battle. But the question is, how good is the new crafting going to be? Because there might be some situations where the new crafting is really, really good, and that compensates for this. So I think there is some missing context. I don't know why they suddenly did this out of the blue, unless there might be some crafting with the new mechanic that makes this make sense, because just completely out of the blue is so weird. So I think we'll see. On paper, this seems like an insane, crazy nerf. It seems really, really, really big and kind of scary, but perhaps in context, it won't be that bad. And also, if it just sucks ass and everyone rages about it, they'll probably get rid of it. They want ground loot to be more important. The thing is, it gets to the point where it's impossible for ground loot to ever match the modifiers you need. Out of a pool of 200 modifiers, if you need like 5 of those at a certain tier, then the chance to like find an item with those modifiers is just like so astronomically improbable that you're gonna have to map for so long just to find that one upgrade. And that's where crafting starts coming in. You need to be able to have control over your items, otherwise you are just like mindlessly running around and hoping to find that upgrade, whereas crafting allows players the agency to kind of create the item they want. Like up to a certain point, probably even like tier 10 maps, you might be looking at ground loot, but late endgame, I don't even know if it's feasible to have a system where you're like picking up a rare off the ground, identifying it, unless the tier system gets ramped up like crazy. Yeah. The thing is, general crafting, they keep adding interactions way too easy. Like once you do crafting, you can force perfect items. Yeah. Who cares? Current builds 1 to 2 show at every boss, and that's the other thing, right? Is that you don't even need close to perfect items. Ground loot can get you 2 red maps. Past that, you have to craft. Yeah, because like statistically, it's like statistically impossible to continue progressing gear past that point. How do you do that? Unless, yeah, like especially bosses. Bosses can drop some really, really well rolled gear. It probably is that simple. The more crafting they add, the more they nerf the old stuff, so it's not deterministic. It might be that. The reason that essences were so strong was that they were kind of like essences and homogenizing exaltation were kind of band-aid fixes to a really not deterministic crafting system. So perhaps I'm giving them like the ultimate benefit of the doubt here, because on the surface this looks so bad. But if you want to take the not crash out route where you're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, this might make sense once we get our hands on the other stuff. And if it doesn't and everyone complains about it, they will probably realize it sucks, and then we need to see exactly. We don't really know anything about the rune crafting, like a tiny bit. So yeah, there might be like tons of deterministic stuff. Once we get in game, we're gonna be like, oh, even if essences are in the game, I probably wouldn't even use them that much. Terrible, awful change in a vacuum. Possibly good if they've added enough crafting with other systems. Exactly. This should have perhaps come with a video where they're like, here are the crafting changes in 0.5. You're going to be able to do this and this and this and this and this. And for that reason, we're doing this change. And then you go like, oh, okay, all right, that kind of makes sense. But like right now, you look at this and you're like, oh, crafting said. I don't know, maybe they'll have like an emergency thing. 160 runes being added, new breach crafting, new daily crafting. It's new stuff on top of new stuff, not to mention omens and ritual. Exactly, yeah, they might... Problem is omens are too expensive and too rare. That might be completely different though, this league. They may have made them way more common, because now that rituals can only do uniques and omens, they buff the drop rate of divines. Yay! That doesn't actually change anything. Biggest slot this affects is weapon, at least jewelry be deterministic with the Genesis tree. Yeah, with weapons it's scary because you can maybe like perfect transmute spam for T1 or T2 IPD, and then normally then you would like hit a random suffix, and then you would go greater essence of abrasion for tier 3 fizz, and then I don't know, like desecrate a prefix, and then slam perfect essence of battle. But now you can't if you have the greater essence of abrasion. They stopped putting nerf news in any of the announcements. Could reaction like this overshadow anything good? I know, yeah, but I think like something this big, I think they should have released it with a video or announced it before the Gazi Darth interview. Also, this wording is weird. All crafted modifiers are now guaranteed. What the frick does that mean? Yeah, it is. It is like a PR thing, and they've made this mistake in the past. They made this mistake in the past where they've announced some change that's like missing context. Everyone has a meltdown, and then they explain it, and like sometimes it is as bad as it sounds. Other times it's not that bad. But that's why they stopped doing balance manifestos. They used to do balance manifestos where they would explain like the theory of their balance of the upcoming patch, and then they stopped doing that because people would freak out because half the context was missing. And I feel like this is that same mistake. Yeah, it's too ambiguous. Some of the runes they showed were a chance. Oh, some of the runes they showed were a chance to add. Oh, I see. Big eyes. Okay. This is an item you can currently make in the game very easily. It is tier 2 fizz, tier 3 flat fizz, grenade damage, +6. This is now +5. And next league is going to be +3. And then onslaught on kill. So next league, you'll be able to get the % fizz and the flat fizz. But then, and you'll be able to get the grenade damage. So you can actually get your prefixes. But then your suffixes, you won't be able to get the +5. Because you'll already have an essence modifier. You won't be able to get the onslaught because you already have an essence modifier. So basically you can make like a half good weapon, but then again, we have the alloys. Oh, the alloys going to count as, I think they are going to count as crafted mods. Suffixes are prey. Yeah, so the suffixes are going to be like prey. Maybe omens are going to be so much more common that you'll be able to use like an omen of dextral annulment. So you can annul suffixes more easily and then re-slam. I don't know. How would you craft a crossbow like this? You'd be able to get the prefixes, but the suffixes are a question mark. Unless... So look, maybe there's going to be something like this. Just think of it. There might be some rune that you put in your weapon, and it says something like, weapon has a 10 times higher chance to roll gem-related modifiers, right? So in the context of essences being removed, it's like, oh god, we're not going to be able to get +5 or +3 anymore. There might be some rune that you put in your thing and it's like, oh, now I have like a 95% chance to get +5, so it doesn't even matter. Or maybe you put something in and it's like, weapon has a 10x chance to roll physical damage mods, so now you can get your tier 2 fizz or tier 1 fizz and then regal on this. Like you got a very high chance to regal on like fizz, and maybe you can like combine runes where it's like weapon has a higher chance to get physical mods, weapon has a higher chance to get like attack damage mods, and then you regal and like 85% of the time you're getting tier 2 fizz or something like that. I don't know. And then it might be like, okay, cool, so I didn't even need to use an essence for my prefixes. And then you can get one of these on the suffixes. And then maybe you can change something else where it's like higher chance to get... I don't know. So maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's not that bad. And one more thing, the more power they take away from gear, the more power they can put on the tree. True. Expect they want to reduce the dependency of player power scaling to weapon slot rolls. Maybe that too. But they didn't explain it. Okay, because they did show some alloys. They showed this like chronomancy one.
Use regular crafting orbs to attempt to get new mods like cooldown speed or increased skill effectuation.
Removes a random modifier and augments a rare item with a new guaranteed modifier. So these function like perfect essences. So you wouldn't be able to use this and a perfect essence, but maybe what I meant is like maybe
Unlock a set.
Maybe there's something like this where it's like weapons can only roll attack modifiers or something like that. I don't know. Race or rune slot, but you can take it out. Oh, cannot be removed or replaced. Fuck. I thought that you could take it out when it's done. Oh, you can take them out now? If you can take them out, then that's super cool. If Vesius has a cool idea, there probably will be a rune or something that is a meta modifier that an item can have multiple crafted modifiers. That's probably true. There might be like a rare rune that's like can have multiple crafted modifiers or can have 2 or 3 crafted modifiers. So that's now like a crafted mod. That can OP because you can use 1 rune of each and then reuse it. Well, I meant like you would replace it and it would destroy it.
There's some really unusual ones too, because there's runes that are designed to just be put into an item to metacraft and then be replaced, right?
I'm really proud of that one actually, because I really like the way that it's like doing metacrafting in a more understandable way, I reckon, than what PoE 1 had. So yeah, you put the item in, you can start rolling different mods, but then you can take it out again by putting another rune on top. So
and
I really
guess there's going to be maybe some process where you put one of those in, do a craft, and then put another one in, do another craft.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. Together.
That one's pretty cool. We got like chronomancy mods on boots. You got like a berserking themed one for helmet. There's like a kind of decay, damage over time one for gloves, and there's a few others there. So we've kind of tried to theme them as well.
Yeah, that's like even a different thing to what we've had in the past with meta mods. Like that's not just shaping how we access the current mod.
Yeah, so you put the rune in the item, and then it says it can roll this mod type, and then you roll that mod you want, and then you replace it, and then I think it's gonna be mega dense. That's what it showed. It says in here it cannot be replaced, but here they said it can. It probably changed. They often will say that like sometimes things that they show here will get changed like after they've announced it. Okay. All right. So that could in context make sense. Oh boy. Let's see what Reddit says. You buy a full quad of bow bases, spam them with perfect transfeats and augs, and if you're lucky if you have 3 to 4 bases to work with. Next, you do much hated word. Guaranteed greater essence slam, desecrate, and try to fracture. Fail 7 times in a row. But this is, again, this is like missing the context of like, maybe there's some new runes that make it easier to hit certain mods, or can't believe we got a new Jonathan meme before GT 6. Hey, well, people are being sensible. People jump to conclusion and changes the crafting without seeing the new crafting systems they'll offer. So far it looks to me like they might be tuning down existing crafting mechanics in order to allow for new ones, without changing the power level of resulting items. If we had none of the changes to existing ones, then we got new ones. Holy f***, Reddit's actually being level-headed. It might suck now, but I think it's better for the game's long-term. Dude, the PoE 2 community is so, like, not stupid. This is unbelievable. If this was on the PoE 1 Reddit, people would be... I don't even know. It would be just, like, complete chaos. This guy just doesn't know what's going on. Having a system based off loot, where having 4 guaranteed mods... T1 mods on readily available currency puts a gigantic limit on future crafting systems if you can craft. What the fuck? Reddit's being smart, and these people are getting upvoted. If you can simply craft best in slot, ground loot is effectively dead and extension of progression and gearing. My only concern is whatever this make essence worthless. I mean, you still have 4 good mods you can get for sure on average. We also have 15 meta. What the f? I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you, Reddit. Maybe the PoE 1 Reddit goblins are still sleeping. I like the PoE 2 community, for the most part. There's some freaks, obviously, but overall, maybe everyone's just excited. This heavily nerfs each individual essence as well, since you can only have 1 on an item. The best ones rise to the top. The rest you never bother with. Yeah. Does this mean the perfect essence, for example, are guaranteed to only remove crafted mod before replacing it with its own? Probably, yeah. That's actually another interesting thing, is that you can safely replace crafted mods. Either it's going to say item already has a crafted mod, or it's just going to like instantly replace the crafted mod. But I don't know, I feel like the PoE 1 community is much more okay with just being as sad as possible all the time. You don't think that's true? Am I just biased after a decade of PoE 1 trauma? I don't understand this weird gymnastic of doing everything not to add a crafting bench, but doing everything, but adding everything a crafting bench would do. Yeah, it's true. I kind of agree with that guy. Crafting went from being better to just question mark. I don't know. Why are we on Reddit? Are we at that part of the stream? This is beautiful. Good job, this guy. Yeah, we're stalling so hard that we're on Reddit. Oh no.